So welcome to Inside Rugby, great to have you here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the All Blacks squad that's been selected to go to the Rugby World Cup in France starting on September the 8th. Now I'm going to go through the selection of the squad and then I'm going to give my points of view on what I think is good and some of the challenges ahead for the squad as far as I'm concerned. And we'll look at a couple of players that I felt were a little bit unfortunate in not getting into this team to go to France. So let's start off and look at the forwards and the hookers that are going. Cody Taylor, Dane Coles and Samisoni Takiaho. Pretty good three hookers there, and all players picked on form, I think, all playing very, very well, had their opportunity throughout the Rugby Championship and the Bledisloe Cup games, and I think that's a very good combination as far as hookers go. The All Blacks have chosen 6 props to go to the World Cup, and they are Ethan de Groot, Fletcher Newell, Nepo Lalala, Ofa Tuangafasi, Tamati Williams and Turo Lomax. And I think that's a really good combination. Again, all these players on form, playing very well in the Rugby Championship, and Tamati Williams getting his opportunity as a young guy to head off to his first World Cup, and I'm sure that's going to give him a ton of experience as he moves through his career as an All Black. So really good prop selections there. Joe Moody, who was probably the one that was going to get close to this team, but unfortunately he's been battling injury for the last 21 months, hasn't played a lot of rugby at all. He's got a bad ankle injury, and he would have been the only other prop I would have thought would come into that group. So moving on to the locks, and the All Blacks are taking 4 locks to this World Cup. We've got Brodie Retallick, Samuel Whitelock, Scott Barrett and Tupou Vaa'i, and I think this is a really interesting selection. As we know, Brodie Retallick's got a knee injury at the moment, and it looks like he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. So despite that injury, the All Blacks are taking the risk to take Brodie Retallick in the squad to the World Cup, and how could they not take a champion like Brodie Retallick? He's been playing exceptionally well throughout the Rugby Championship and Bledisloe series this year, and him and Whitelock, of course, are a formidable force in the locking position. Scott Barrett's been playing enormously well. Some say he's the #1 lock in New Zealand at the moment, and Tupou Vaa'i has been playing also very well. So strong combination. The only thing that concerns me is this injury to Retallick, and they're saying that he's going to be back in playing for maybe the second pool game of the All Blacks journey in this World Cup. We'll have to wait and see if that eventuates. But if someone gets hurt in that France game in the locking position, then the All Blacks may be in a little bit of trouble. Josh Lord was probably the only other one going to be considered for the locking position, but the All Black selectors have gone with what has been tried and tested before. Okay, on to the loose forwards, and the All Black selectors have decided to go with 5 loosies to the Rugby World Cup, and they are Ardie Savea, Dalton Papali'i, Luke Jacobson, Sam Cane, who will be the captain, and Shannon Frizzell. Now, there's a lot of people who have written comments on this channel before that they think Ardie Savea should be the All Black captain. Let me know what you think. Very interested in that one. It seems as though he is a born leader, that's for sure. Now, a good loose group here, loose forward group from the All Blacks, I think, all in great form, all bringing something different. I think Sam Cane brings something different to this team when he's in there. We saw that when he was missing in Melbourne. And Dalton Papali'i's been playing very well as well. Luke Jacobson, really good to have him in the team. Shannon Frizzell started off like a champion against the Springboks and had a very good Rugby Championship series. So a loose head group that's very, very good, would be very mobile and fast, and good at clearing that early ball for the All Blacks, I think. Now moving on to the halfbacks, and the All Blacks have decided to take 3 halfbacks to this World Cup. Aaron Smith, Finlay Christie and Cam Roigard. Probably no surprises there. A lot of people think that Finlay Christie is a little bit of a liability in this team, but time will tell on that if God forbid Aaron Smith gets injured. And of course Cam Roigard has been given his shot after a good performance and coming on in the Rugby Championship game. So it's going to be interesting with these halfbacks. They all got something a little bit different than they bring to the game, but there's no question that Aaron Smith remains the #1 All Black halfback. So moving on to the first fives, and 3 selected here: Damien McKenzie, Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett. So interesting selections around that. Of course, Barrett can switch to fullback, and Damien McKenzie, who again didn't show too much during those games that he got an opportunity with. So Richie Mo'unga is obviously the #10 preferred option there for the All Blacks. Let me know about D-Mac's selection. Do you think it was a fait accompli that he was going to get into this All Black team? And what do you think are they going to do with Beauden Barrett in this Rugby World Cup as far as selection at 15 and 10, or rotating as a utility back? Do you think that'll happen with Beauden Barrett? So moving on to the midfield, and the All Blacks have selected Anton Leonard-Brown, Geordie Barrett, Rieko Ioane, and also David Havili comes into the team. Now Havili has been struggling with a hamstring injury. He's finally got over it, and the All Black selectors have been lucky to be able to get Havili back into the squad, and I'm pretty much sure he'll get some game time in the first few games for the All Blacks to get him up to speed. So a very good midfield, I thought, here. And the All Blacks again have gone, the All Black selectors again have gone with strength and consistency of that midfield combination. I really like the way Geordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane were playing throughout the Rugby Championship. Thought they built a really good combination there. When Anton Leonard-Brown came back from suspension, he was adding also something else, a little bit different. His defense is very good as well. And we all know how good David Havili is, so let's hope he gets back to his very best very quickly as the World Cup starts off in France. Now looking at the outside backs, this is probably the area that was a little bit of a surprise for the All Blacks, not so much in the names but more in the amount of players that the outside backs are consuming. We've got Imoni Narawa, Mark Talia, Will Jordan, Lester Fainganuku and Caleb Clark as the back 5. And we saw Clark coming in off the bench, and some people say he's lucky to be in this team. Let me know what you think of Caleb Clark being included in this All Black squad. Lester Fainganuku had a couple of games coming back into the team and was very good. Was impressed with him, and he certainly deserves his slot. Will Jordan, of course, probably the first man picked in this All Black squad. And Imoni Narawa, I was very impressed with him early on in the Rugby Championship. He picked up that injury to his back. He's been out rehabilitating that and is coming back into form now. So expect him to be playing, I think, in the first few games. Mark Talia also had a good Rugby Championship Bledisloe series when he came on to the field. So I think interesting that they've gone with 5 outside backs and not putting another one in the forwards here, the All Black selectors. Let me know what you think about that selection for the outside backs. Now I've got to say, I really like this All Black squad. I think it's a very potent squad across the park. The only thing that concerns me is coverage for injuries. If Brodie Retallick doesn't get over that knee injury too soon, or he has a further problem with that knee injury, they are going to have to call up another player from back home. But I think across the park the All Blacks look very, very strong. It's the strongest squad I think they could have picked. Players like Finau were unlucky not to get into the team, and maybe Josh Lord, as I mentioned earlier. Joe Moody also with an injury. Sean Stevenson didn't do enough in the game that he got an opportunity. I felt his defence was also lacking. So I think the selectors have done the right thing for leaving him out of this particular squad and giving him an opportunity going forward that he can maybe build into this team for the next World Cup. So overall, I think it's a really good team. Is it good enough to win the World Cup? I'm not too sure. I think we're going to see really strong teams from France and Ireland. And of course, the Springboks are always going to be there or thereabouts. And I feel as though the Springboks have got more in depth than what the All Blacks have got. That could be a question mark that you can answer for me. Do you think the Springbok squad is going to be stronger than the All Black squad? And of course, we've got a series of tough games to get through in the knockout phase for the All Blacks, so they're going to have to back up, and injury is going to be a major concern in this Rugby World Cup for all the major nations. That I have no doubt about. So there we go, that's the 2023 Rugby World Cup squad for the All Blacks has been named. That's the players that are going to go to France with the hopes of the nation on their shoulders to bring back the 4th World Cup for the New Zealand All Blacks. Let me know what you think of this selection of the players that were selected. Some of the positional emphasis there as well. Do you think they got the halfbacks right? Do you think they got it right with Mackenzie coming in there? And do you think they got it right with the number of outside backs that they're taking? And if there's players that haven't made this team, who do you think was unlucky in not making this All Blacks squad? I'd really like to hear from you on that point. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching me on Inside Rugby. I'll be back again soon with another video. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and enjoy your rugby, everyone. Bye for now.